I think we're live.
No.
Here you go. Hi, everyone. Yeah, we're live now. Hi, everyone. We're coming to you from Jana's campaign. I'm Derek.
I'm Adria.
And this is just this is a new thing that we hope that we'll be able to do a little more regularly with everyone here. We're calling these our purple chair chats, and they're just informal, important, live conversations, all about instilling the knowledge, skills, and values necessary to prevent gender and relationship violence. We're coming to the end of February now, which, if any of you weren't aware, is Teen Dating Violence Awareness Month. And it goes without saying that just because Teen Dating Violence Awareness Month is coming to an end doesn't mean that teen dating violence is going anywhere. And Adrian and I just wanted to kind of talk about what we've learned this month, tools that we have available for you and anyone else that might need any help. Adria, you wanna take it away?
Sure. So I'll just show you how to get to our toolkit on Jana's campaign.
Yeah, so we have a lot of different toolkits available on our website that have both a lot of great information as well as we've got toolkits on our website, specifically our Teen Dating Violence Awareness Toolkit. If you go to janascampaign.org, you can find under our program areas and our community education page, and then we have some awareness toolkits. And once this live video is done, we'll leave a link to these in the comments so that you can find them. Or actually, I think we can do that right now. But there's just a lot of really cool stuff in here that we've either found and that we've put together to try and provide you with both some information on the issue as well as some resources and tools and tricks that you can use yourself if you need to have a conversation with someone, especially a young person in your life, about teen dating violence, or even if you need to utilize it yourself. Do you want to kind of tell about some of the stuff that's in the toolkit?
Yeah, a lot of it goes to talks about the statistics. You'll probably see on a lot of the social media posts we have talk about the stats, and then Derek has also got the raise your hand statistics. That's on a toolkit, I guess. Talk about red flags and safety plans for leaving an unhealthy or abusive relationship. Again, talks about not only what is in an unhealthy relationship, but what you should look for in a healthy relationship. That's really important. How to raise awareness, and yeah, like I mentioned, just having those conversations with people you know. All that is in the toolkit, and we're gonna, like we said, leave the link in a comment, so feel free to check that out.
Yeah. And actually, Adria is pretty new to the Jana's campaign team. And a lot of this information, I know in the last few months, has been new stuff for you to learn. So I'm curious, you mentioned red flags. What are some of the red flags that you were of an unhealthy relationship that you were either surprised to learn about or were kind of different than maybe you thought they were?
I think one that's really stuck out to me that I've never really thought about before is just like we're going to talk about setting boundaries with your partner. And to me, I've never really noticed, but your partner crossing those boundaries that you've set with them can be a big red flag, and I guess that's not something that I've thought about. But I think there's a lot of red flags in our toolkit and that I've learned about that have become very normal for society. Um, Always knowing, your partner's passwords, kind of embarrassing you in front of people, asking for pictures, inappropriate pictures from you, can show a lot of disrespect if it's not a consensual act. And so
Yeah. Yeah, we spend a lot of time talking about boundaries when we're speaking with high schoolers, middle schoolers, and even college students, any young person. We talk about how boundaries aren't just an important thing to avoid an unhealthy relationship, but they're also super important in maintaining healthy ones. That you always have the right to set boundaries on how people talk to you, what kind of language they use around you, how they touch you, even how much time you want to spend with someone. You have the right to set those boundaries and expect people to respect your boundaries.
yeah,
When we're talking about red flags with young people as well, we spend quite a bit of time now talking about stalking, which I think a lot of people are surprised by.
yeah,
Because I know that when I usually think of stalking, I don't really think about it as being part of a relationship. In fact, the biggest thing that comes to mind for me is there's that Netflix show called You, and it's the example I always use of one person like physically following someone around, going to where someone works, breaking into their home, spying on them. But in reality, stalking is a huge issue among young people, and it's mostly done through social media.
yeah. I I didn't really notice how easy it is. I mean, we talk a lot about Snapchat, how easy that is, and just how careful you should be with who you have your location shared with. And it's just, social media plays a big part in stalking. And sometimes I feel like people do it without even meaning to, but it still can set you up for pretty dangerous situations.
Yeah, and I think that's why we put such a focus at Jana's campaign about teen dating violence, because you said this, that a lot of people don't know that they're doing something wrong. There's these awful patterns of behavior and relationships that people learn really, really young, and they carry those patterns and behaviors with them for the rest of their life. And if we can interrupt those right now, then we're going to be avoiding a lot more abusive relationships in the future, hopefully.
Yeah.
I think it's also interesting, we talk about social media and stalking, but really like abusing technology in an unhealthy relationship kind of touches on all sorts of different red flags. People, Adrian mentioned, making your partner hand over their passwords, seeing if someone's been active on Instagram, if they're not replying to texts or something, like all these ways that we're able to control people and create an imbalance of power in a relationship.
And I think a lot of times people can mistake getting a lot of texts and like, where are you? What are you doing? As, oh, they care about me. And even parents, I think it's something that you should try to notice is if your teen is in a new relationship, are they being completely just taken over by this person, always on their phone, always talking to them in an unhealthy way.
Yeah. And our toolkit, which I believe we put in the comments, does have a lot of good information on how to have conversations with your kids about teen dating violence and healthy and unhealthy relationships. And we have to be having those conversations, and we have to be modeling healthy relationships. We do an activity in just about every classroom that we go to. And we note that, research has shown that adults who have teenagers between like 75 and 80 some percent either don't think that teen dating violence is a problem or they don't know if it is. But at the same time, we're doing this activity with students, asking them questions about their experiences. We have done this activity for, looking at the numbers here, over 6,800 middle and high schoolers across Kansas, Nebraska, and Colorado. And we asked them questions like, do you know someone, or have you been in a relationship that got too serious too fast? And we see about 55% of students say yes, I or someone I know has been in that situation. But we ask questions about how quickly, not just that, but also, do you or someone you know, have you been in a relationship where you were isolated from your friends and family, where your partner controlled what clothing you wear, if they've made threats to you, or if they've actually hurt you. And the numbers that we find are staggering. For example, one of the questions that really pops out to us is over half of all these teens that we've spoken with say that they have either sent or received inappropriate pictures.
I feel like it might even be more than what we, like the 50%.
Yeah, I agree.
I think most kids, from what the one time I've gone, most kids are like, yeah, I feel like it is more than 50%.
Yeah, we put up these numbers with no names attached, of course, and we asked the students in the class, hey, tell us what you think about this. And every time, that's the first one, is everyone saying that number is way too low.
Yeah.
It should be like 90 to 100%. Yeah. Another pretty serious question that we pose to these students, and I do want to put a content warning before this, so please feel free to skip this part if you need to. But we ask these students, have you or someone you know been in a relationship where their partner threatened to harm themselves or complete suicide? And that number is 33% of students say that that is something they have experienced.
Yeah, and looking at the numbers sometimes, 33% is really high. And looking at the numbers, you might think, 11% of students have said that they know someone who's experienced physical abuse. But just from the kids that we've talked to, that's 786 kids who have gone through something like that. And something that really stands out to me is Derek mentioned that around 80% of parents don't know or don't think that teen dating violence is an issue. But almost 90% of the students we've talked to say that it is a problem for teens, and they know that it happens to them, it happens to their friends. And so based on our numbers, that's over 6,000 students who think and who know teen dating violence is definitely a big problem.
Yeah, I mean there is such a huge disconnect between adults and parents, their perception of this problem and the reality that teens are living in. And I'm always very impressed by the maturity of the conversations that these young people have whenever we talk about what they've experienced. Like, they're having these conversations on their own.
Yeah.
For better or worse, they're having them on their own. And we certainly believe that if more parents and adults were involved, and not just talking about unhealthy or abusive relationships, but talking about and modeling what healthier relationships are too, like what a huge difference that would make.
Yeah, I know we've talked about this before. It's really important to not just talk about what you don't want in a relationship or what you shouldn't be experiencing. It's really important, especially as parents, to talk about what is a healthy relationship and how can you model a healthy relationship at home.
Mm-hmm.
Just mutual respect is so important and so simple, and just giving each other space and just having that conversation, like how we started this, having conversations is so important, and letting your kids know not just what not to look for, but what to actually look for in a relationship. Because I think a lot of kids they don't know. They don't know what a relationship is supposed to be like, or they've never seen a healthy one. I know it can be hard at home, but as parents, you do hold a responsibility to try your best to model healthy relationships for your kids.
Yeah, I mean, I know that this stuff can be very awkward sometimes. Like, even we, with all our experience, you're in a room full of young people and you're like, oh, are they going to feel comfortable talking about this? But I think it's so important just to recognize that even if it is awkward or uncomfortable, they already know this stuff. They're experiencing it. They are absolutely able to talk about it. I think that we have definitely not given experience when it comes to issues like dating violence and relationship violence. I know that I've been shocked. The more and more I'm learning about this, there's always something new to pick up on, a new conversation to have, a new lesson to learn.
Yeah, and I think it's great because I don't think that teenagers really feel like they have a voice about a lot of things. And I think through these statistics that we've gathered, and I just think it's really great that their voice is getting out there, and I hope that they're being heard by more than just us.
Yeah. And I want to plug again that Teen Dating Violence Awareness Toolkit. There is some really good stuff in there to help you start these conversations. And at Jana's campaign, we're very focused on prevention. That is what we do. We want to stop these from ever happening. But if you or your student or your teenager or your young person does find themselves in an unhealthy or abusive relationship, one of the best things you can do is help them create a safety plan, talk about what it is they're experiencing. And if you really want some good advice and help in developing that safety plan, we got to recommend reaching out to our colleagues over at Options Domestic and Sexual Violence Services here in Hayes. They are fantastic. They know exactly what they're doing. They'll help you for free and be totally confidential while doing it. If nothing else, just teaching your young people, your kids, your students to set those healthy boundaries, that goes such a long way. Because I think, like you mentioned, there's a lot of young people who don't feel empowered or that they have a voice. And so if you can give someone that confidence to set those boundaries and expect that they should be giving consent for anyone to cross those boundaries, that would be a huge step in this issue.
Yeah. And I think some teenagers, I don't know if any are going to watch this, but I think it can be hard for you to go to a parent or teacher. And so, like Derek mentioned, Options is a great advocacy agency in Hayes. So I would definitely recommend, if you don't feel comfortable, going to a teacher or friend or parent. Your advocacy agency is a really great resource.
Mm-hmm.
And also, even just not going to an adult at first, maybe you just want to go to a friend, and they can help walk you through, or they can try to help walk you through what your next steps are if you're in an unhealthy relationship.
Yeah, you don't have to do anything alone. There's lots of resources for help. Even if you want to reach out to us, we can either help you as much as we're able to, or we can get you in touch with people who can. But yeah, we wanted to keep this brief and informal for you all. We also want to thank you for all the support that we've seen on social media for raising awareness about teen dating violence. There's a lot of other challenges going on in the world, and the fact that people care and are so involved in this means a lot to us.
Thank you.
Yeah, anything you want to add before we go, Adria?
I don't think so.
No? Well, we're always available to you. Leave a comment on the video, send us a message, send us an email. And hopefully we'll see you for another Purple Chair Chat in the not too distant future. Thanks.